Riot Games is resetting the entire high elo ladder. That means that every single player who is above Master Tier, Master, Grandmaster, and all the Challenger players throughout all the regions, NA, US, United East, Brazil, LAN, and Turkey, are getting reset to Master 0 LP and Master 0 LP MMR as well. What that means is that if you take a look at the ladder now, we have all these high Challenger players. They will all be competing against all the low master players. That means you will have games where Odysseus, the best Talia on the server, is playing with Skumond in the jungle, maybe even DuoQ, against master players. What that means, for those who don't know the in high competition, it will be an absolute disaster. It's like a diamond player playing against an iron player. They will get completely stomped, they will an absolute snowball, and they will win almost every single game. That will be the first few months. Now, why is Riot Games doing this in the first place? Before we jump into what Riot Games has to say about all of this and why they're doing a hard reset, I want to give you my POV on how I experienced all of this from a high challenger perspective, someone who has been playing daily at these high ladder. First of all, the season started in January 8th. And why does this all even occur? How is this possible? There are two big things that changed all of it. Number one is the Valor. Okay, that means that Riot Games introduced something completely new. This doesn't necessarily need to be an issue for the LP game, but it can be. That means that when you are out of it, now on winning on an out of field role, you can earn double the LP if you perform and get a B rank or plus. If you do not perform, but you still get a certain rank, you will lose 0 LP. Basically, the Valor protects you. Also, when you play on a low priority role, you sometimes also get a Valor. This does not lead to the LP MMR system and everything be fucked, but this creates an natural inflation because you're basically printing LP. It's similar as if the European bank just prints money. What will happen is the inflation will rise because now you have more total money on this earth. If you just right now gave everyone in this entire world $1 million, what would happen? The American dollar would lose in value. It's that simple. Similar with League of Legends, if you print LP with a Valor system, LP itself will lose in value. Apart from that, I think the Valor system is great. Why is that? Because it increases the integrity of high elo competition. The reason why that is because when I am now out of it on top lane, back in the days, I would be like, I want to go jungle, I want to dodge. The chance I lose on top lane is just higher than when I play in the jungle. But the plus side now is that I know, okay, if I don't perform on top lane, I can still lose no LP. And if I perform on top lane, I'm gonna get double LP. So now I'm gonna intentionally try hard even harder, full focus, no music, no distractions. I need to win this so I get double LP. As you see it for counter streamers, we take that Dirt, who is generally speaking very happy when he gets filled and he can lock in even further. People are wanting to get out of field now, just so that they have a higher chance of getting double the LP. This leads to people being tryharding to try hard even further when they are filled. So the change itself is great. Yet still keep in mind, you are printing LP. The second change out of all of this is the enabling of DuoQ and high elo, which was removed back in the days. I remember still when I was funneling Master Yi Taric Season 10 with a 70-80% win rate. DuoQ in general is very abusable. That's what you can keep in mind. Why? You can have certain strategies and team comps always played out in the exact same way. That means you have a pattern recognition. Let's say you play Orianna Nocturne. It's a great DuoQ, you have Orianna ult on Nocturne ult, great combination. But that is not the main problem of all of this. The main problem with Nocturne Orianna ult is that you know how it's played and you have all the probabilities more played than enemies have played it. I give you an example. Let's say you play against Desperate Nasus in Hilo, one of the best solo queue players and one of the best KL players in the entire world. Now, he plays against Orianna Nocturne. He knows how to play against them, but he is not fully prepared. Yet the Nocturne and the Orianna have played maybe against Kayle or several different mid lane matchups already hundreds of games together. So they are very prepared whilst Desperate Naces in the enemy team has only a very small minority of games played against this team comp. So the team side that is duo queue and playing certain strategies multiple times will have the advantage of having higher probability sample size. Then they have the advantage of being in voice comps, knowing exactly how to play. And then the most important comes now with this example. I'd gladly take the example of Riot, one of the best top laners in the entire world, solo queue players ever, duo queuing with Argorin, one of the best junglers in the entire world, and both of them are rank 1 material, extremely good at League of Legends, extremely locked in. Now comes the biggest problem with duo queue, that you have trust in your laners. When Argorin plays with Raider, he knows for a fact, of course Raider can have a bad game, yes, but he knows for a fact Raider will perform. He will have a very high chance of winning. He will have a high chance of being strong in the top lane, a high chance of having a consistent output. Whether if you put Argorin solo, there's a chance he plays with a random Darius player, maybe a first time Darius, maybe this guy has more experience, maybe this guy has a lucky game, maybe this guy has an unlucky game. But if you play with the same, let's say, good player over and over again, they will know from each other. For example, side lane. Argorin wants to base to protect an enemy Gnar from split pushing. But he knows Raider will take care of him. Raider knows how to not die stupidly. So Argorin can play his playstyle on the other side of the map. Now Argorin does need to base to protect the Gnar from split pushing because he trusts in Raider that he's going to do that. Of course, if you play with a different challenger player, you can also trust in him. But again, there's a probability that he does fail it. There's a probability he's like, maybe I can fight him, and then he goes for a sneaky fight, and then Argorin is in a really cooked position in the first place. So you having trust in your duo queue leads to a way higher chance of winning, especially playing with the best players. Now, when you have duo queue in high MMR, it will also completely cook the entire system, because how are you gonna balance it? Are you gonna make it way harder for the duo queue team, that you give them way harder lobbies? Maybe it's imbalanced now that duo queue is even weak. Do you make it now way better for the duo queue? Because it's going to be difficult in the first place to fix it, because duo queue will naturally have and should have a higher win rate. Now, if you brute force them down to 50%, then nobody has the reason to duo queue, and duo queue would even be negative. Now, with that, I'm not saying that Valor of Command nor duo queue is not balanceable. As I said, you can make duo queue 50%, but even that will be very, very hard to find a way for that, because there are duo queues that are just better than other duo queues. And what I mean by that is the percentage of factor that duo queue is negative for the game will increase and decrease depending on who is duoing with who. So as you can see, it varies depending on which lanes are duo queuing, which players are duo queuing, how much are they duo queuing, are they in voice, are they off voice, do they just play with each other, do they abuse certain strategies? As you can see, it's very difficult to find a balance in that sense. First of all, for the printing of LP with the Valor, and second of all, with balancing duo queue and high MMR. Now you can say, okay, then let's not duo queue and high MMR. You can say, let's remove Valor. You can keep all of this in this, but this is the reason why LP games got completely cooked. Now, with all of this being said, you got to a position where all these high streamers are very, very annoyed, me included, because in some, where you take this, Phantasm gets plus 30 with Valor of Command, plus 60. Minus 23, and 2 days ago, plus 17. What is that about? Nadinet, minus 29, minus 27, minus 25. You don't even see a pattern anymore. Sometimes you get plus 15, sometimes you get plus 20, sometimes you get plus 30. So that means that you will climb just depending on which rank you are playing. In Season 16, your rank depends on which patches you spam games in. So where's the high elo integrity in that? In general, if you play in high elo, if you want to go to rank 1, why is it so nice to reach rank 1? Because in the end, you're out competing. So the competitive integrity needs to be always #1 priority. Because if you can be rank 1 by just spamming on the right patches, what that means is that people, yourself or even anyone, will just not value it as it should be valued. Because getting rank 1 should always be a very big prestige. If you take a look at more of this, I can just show you. We're already in the third month of this season. LP gains are still either perma insanely low or randomly insanely high. Despite these extreme, the challenger cutoff just keeps rising. Plus, plus rank 1 is nearly 2.5k in US. You know what the funny thing is? Alois is a funny example for this. Wait, let me like this real quick. Okay, so, yo, Grandmaster just went from 1014 to 1103 in a day. Calm down, everyone. I need to climb with ADC fast. And then Alois rated me these days. And then somebody said, Alois is climbing, but the cutoff is climbing faster than him. And I was giggling so hard because even from Alois POV or anyone doing like challenge, an ADC challenge, climbing to like 2000 LP as it is up to this day is just insane. Okay, so what is now the big problem with in some patches you get good LP gains, in some patches you get bad LP gains? Now you could just fix it that everyone gets, let's say, plus 20, minus 20, and then it will fix out itself. No, that is wrong. That would be a soft reset that doesn't really help. Why is that? Let me explain it from an economic perspective. Imagine you have an X number of LP, total LP. We take the number 100,000. Okay? And now you randomly print LP. That's what happened throughout all these months. More LP got printed. Let's say we take a total number now of 250,000. And now you get back to normal LP. So someone gets again plus 20, minus 20. But the 250,000 LP are still existing. They are still here. Same with inflation for money. If you print right now billions of dollars, the dollars will be here. So now the dollar is worth less. So now you have LP that is worthless and you're trying to catch up with an LP gain that is basically outdated because you never get to the high LP sums. So if the rank 1 now is at 4000 LP and we take now Kire as an example who was in China for vacation, right? Now he's coming back and now he plays for Master 0 LP. Now, do you want to give him also plus 20, minus 20, whilst rank 1 played for several patches at plus 30? Now, he was challenger every single season, right? Every single season challenger. Completely locked in, very good player. Now, what is he gonna do? Climb 2000 LP real quick? It's gonna be really difficult. So it only gets to one point in the end, a hard reset. Now, I was actually not expecting a hard reset. I got surprised because I didn't think that Riot cared too much about fixing all the inflation by a hard deflation system, by a hard reset. I was actually surprised. Now, why is that? Because when I read all of the things from Riot Games, you need to keep in mind that for most players, it doesn't matter too much. For others, it matters way more. We take me as an example, right? For me, I was always contemplating, okay, do I want to do more coaching? Do I want to do more educational content? Or do I want to try hard and climb to rank 1? In fact, I have always been top 10 for the last 4 or 5 years, but I've only gotten rank 1 once. I was rank 2 on the EOS server, I was rank 6 in Korea, but on the EOS server, I only got rank 1 once. So now I was like, okay, I really want to climb back to rank 1, really locked in, yet I had one issue. I was scared. Because of the LP system, I don't know which patch I'm gonna play in. Because sometimes I was gone, sometimes I was here, I wanted to play, sometimes I got good LP gain. In general, I always was very unlucky. So I always had like really rough LP gain. I got like sometimes plus 17, then again I got the plus 25, then again plus 17. So I was myself like, okay, is it even worth to play? And I was contemplating. We take other streamers. I want to play League. But LP gains have been fucked up for the entirety of Season 16, by the way. Good example. Sums it all up. I also want to play. I would love to compete and climb to rank 1, but I feel like it's pointless. Because let's just assume it is imbalanced, right? And duo queue is broken. Now, basically I'm already forced to duo queue or I have a disadvantage. I am forced to play on the right patches or I will just have a disadvantage because now I'm playing against the inflation. So I'm already cooked in several different patches. And now, to sum it all up, I read this. I read that hard reset is going to be the most extreme option. And I thought for me, okay, I don't think they're gonna do a hard reset because that would take away the grind from so many players, right? Like all these players grinding now, all these LP, all would be worthless. And now yesterday on stream I was a bit sad when I saw it. It was kind of funny to me too, because I now grinded for an entire month League of Legends and I climbed from 1800 LP all the way up to 2700 LP with an LP gain of plus 18 minus 22. Of course, I had Valor of the Valor, but in the end, my thought was it doesn't matter. My LP gains, whatever I do, all of this doesn't matter. The only thing that does matter is that I play well, because if I perform, I will improve my MMR and I will get higher. So my goal was to climb to rank 1 and improve my MMR, and eventually I will be in a good position. And now the entire month of grinding and putting myself up, having consistently a 60% win rate on average in the last 1 month, right? Because I'm very locked in, I'm really trying my best, is now fading away because I'm also getting reset to Master Tier 0 LP. Now, the problem which I face with this is that the reset will be in a week. Now, I really wish that Riot Games would communicate that fast enough, as ASAP says really well, that a reset would be good as long as it's announced ahead of time and sufficiently hyped. People will enjoy the fresh type, I agree, but 1 week in advance is a very short period of time for me in that sense. There are even more questions to all of this. We take my friend Miles. I just was in a call with him because he had a question that his account is Diamond 1 with a 67% win rate and he's playing with 800 to 1000 LP lobbies. Now, what do you do with an account that will be below Master Tier, but it has Grandmaster or plus MMR even? How will they get balanced? Will they also get reset to a certain degree? Is the max MMR you have at the beginning 0 LP? I'm actually so curious how that's gonna be, because technically you could now start ranking up an account with the turbo MMR high win rate and then immediately start at the moment the ranked resets, start with that account, pushing it up to the top to get rank 1 abuse quickly or something like that. These are just questions I ask myself also with Riot Games making a hard reset. Apart from that, TLDR conclusion. This is now the conclusion of all of this. Happens, we all make mistakes. What I think is absolutely amazing from Riot Games is that they legit have a good communication with their viewer base. I'm actually positively surprised at what Riot Games do. For example, they do 1 writer versus 20 redditors. They have open communications. They do a lot of things. And I think mistakes all of us do. No, I don't think, I know. We all do countless of mistakes. And it is completely fine, but we have to improve and do it better next time. So what Riot Games should be doing, not in my opinion, but that is just a generalization goal, is first of all, don't create too much inflation. Valor is a beautiful thing, but we need to find a way that it doesn't abuse inflation to a certain degree that it's demotivating to play. Second, do Q needs to be balanced in Master Plus. I think the general idea that you can do Q is amazing. If you couldn't, that would also make total sense. But if you can do it, it needs to be balanced. One way could be that instead of getting plus 20, minus 20, with dual Q you get plus 18, minus 22. So you just give the dual Q a little bit less LP as a reward and they lose a little bit more. That already makes the reasoning for dual Q lesser effective and lesser abusable. That could be demotivating to a certain degree. It can also be nice, because if I know my dual Q is really good and I have a decent win rate with him, I don't mind losing a little bit more LP because I'm confident I'm gonna win, and then I can prove it. Now Riot Games will also change their LP gains in the first place. That means we now expect LP gains and losses to be in between plus 35, minus 35 and plus 25, minus 35, with a baseline of plus 30, which we think strikes a better balance between requiring appropriate investment to reach the top of the ladder, while also making climbing more achievable for players who have commitments. Completely fine, but just be careful with how you treat the inflation part. Also, LP gains should be consistent, not change between patches. There's one more thing I want to add here in the end, that there are so many players coming from North America to play on the EU server, and now they're just gonna get reset. That's so painful, it's insane. They flew here to climb to top 10 or rank 1. They wanna prove themselves and have a beautiful time, and now they're gonna get reset. That's just how it is. And now TF Blade asked me to do Q, and I told him, play? Question mark? I won't play anymore until it resets, because it doesn't make sense for me, right? So I'm not gonna play for an entire week. And now TF Blade basically will have double or triple the queue time, because not a single Grandmaster or Challenger player has the incentive to play, and for an entire week it will just be cold. Apart from that, I will be now focusing on coaching and educational jungle content for this timestamp until the ladder resets. So there will be a very special event, and I will have some slots open for coaching. So if you're considering to get coaching, this will be a very good timing now. Wish you the best and have a beautiful day.